Oh,
Oh,
roll
no, no,
back
no.
home.
It's the
Roll
road
back
back home.
home.
It's a road back home.
to Allah.
It's the road back home. Okay, so today on this road back home, this journey that we call life, today's journey, it's gonna be a short journey.
Welcome to those who haven't joined us before.
Yeah, I want to call
Welcome to this journey.
I want to call our fans the travelers. What do you think? It was either that or the hitchhikers. It's either the hitchhikers or the travelers. But the travelers is like, that's part of like a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, you know? Like be in this world as if you're a traveler. So I'm like, calling them the travelers, that's like feeling very sunnah-ish. You feel me? But if I call them the hitchhikers, it's because you know what I'm saying? They wanna ride back home. They wanna ride on the road back home. You know what I'm saying? So we pick them up on the way home, you know? But then also, why would you pick up a hitchhiker on your way home unless you're trying to get murked?
Yeah, why would you be a hitchhiker unless you're trying to get murked? It goes both ways. If you're picking up a hitchhiker, you're trying to murk somebody.
If I'm picking up a hitchhiker, I might be
What's your intention?
Just give this guy a ride home. I would never do it, but yeah, you're right. What's the probability
They're both messed up in the head.
Yeah, because if I'm in a car and I'm a serial killer and I see someone like this on the side of the road, that's a layup. You know what I'm saying? That's like when you go fishing and the fish just jumps in the boat. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is light work. You know what I'm saying? Like, get in here. Ain't nobody know you. You a loner. You a traveler. You know, I got a knife in the back. You know what I'm saying? And I got the wheel. It's over. But then on the other side, I could say, I have every reason to jump this guy. I'm playing GTA 6. And I'm gonna come up with this new car. And by the way, when you get picked up, you're not getting picked up by a nice car. It's usually some dude with manure in the backseat. It's some nasty car. He's like, just shove that stuff to the left, and it's just like bottles of piss or something. Like it's something disgusting.
I feel like half the viewers are gonna be offended
By what?
everything we just said. You wanna know why? I guarantee you, 50% of them have tried to pick up somebody to be a good Muslim on the side of the road.
Okay, but there's a difference. Like, where are you? You in America doing this?
Yeah.
You wild.
I'm telling you, 50% of them, I guarantee you, they'll comment. You'll see the comments.
Maybe.
They've definitely tried. If you've tried to, let us know. If you've pulled over to pick up a hitchhiker.
Yeah, and if they don't reply, they don't comment, it means they never made it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they did it, and they got murked, and now they can't. That's why skydiving, like, you ever looked up skydiving? This one guy told me, look at the reviews. I'm like, you think the guys who died, you think the guy who hit the ground came back and was like, no, this place sucks. No, dude. You took that to the grave, literally, bro. Like, that place was poo-poo, bro. Yeah, so you're always gonna get 5 stars at a skydiving spot because it's all the people who lived. Yeah,
well, I mean, family members might have some bad reviews.
The reason why I thought about that was because of Lodi. There's a skydiving spot in Lodi, and there's a bunch of fields out there, so they don't even have to bury you. You just bury yourself.
You know what's funny?
Yeah.
I died over there. I skydived over there.
In Lodi?
In Lodi.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was nice. It was very fun, but I wasn't thinking.
Who's
I signed everything without thinking. Wallahi. Signed my life away. I knew it. I was just too much of adrenaline.
Was one of them like an organ donation or something?
It was my boy from Jersey. It was I'm talking about within 30 minutes we made the choice. He just hit me up. He said, by the way, I'm in Cali. Or I knew he was here. And then he just hit me up one morning. He was just like, let's go skydiving. It's like, bet. Let's go. Within 30 minutes, 45 minutes, we're at the spot. Signed everything, jumping out the plane.
He came to California. In first place he went was Lodi.
His family lived in Lodi.
Okay. That's the context. I'm like, I'm not going to, I don't know. I can't even think of it, but like, I'm not going to go to some place that everyone goes to and then go to like the one. I'm not going to talk bad about Lodi, but like in general, like a city that's not.
It's not touristy. It has nothing there. Yeah, that's true.
Oh, have you seen those? Like the roller coaster? Huh? Like the roller coaster. This dude always like messes with the people. And he goes,
my gosh.
Oh, 1 second, guys. And then they go.
I feel like he can get sued, bro.
Probably.
I feel like someone could catch a heart attack.
He did get sued.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
And then the Lodi place, they also shut it down for being too unsafe.
No, they did for a moment, but they've been investigated. They've been investigated for sure. I knew this after the fact, but alhamdulillah, I'm here.
Yeah, I don't want to go to like a restaurant that like has been investigating the last month, Yeah, so what are we here for today, brother?
Just figuring out life, man. Why are we here? Where'd we come from?
That's
where
exactly
we're
where I
going?
want to start.
Yeah.
Why are we here? Where are we?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
There's dunya.
Existential crisis. That's a big word. You feel me?
Yeah.
You know, what do you think that means?
Above my pay grade, my brother.
Existential. Existing comes from the root word exist.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is not like a Webster
Yeah.
definition. This is just something,
Sammy's.
street smarts. You know what I'm saying? Existential comes from the root word exist, which comes from the root word. And, that's the ruh. You know what I'm saying? That's.
Oh.
I don't know, man. Existential crisis is like when I realize, like, when you you realize you're sentient, like you're like, I'm really out here, right? Like I didn't just spawn. Like there's a reason. There's like a purpose behind me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I think the crisis comes from immediately after you realize you are not just like a coincidence. You didn't just like pop out of nowhere. Immediately the next question was, well, why am I here? It's a question of why, right? Like the first thing, like if I'm in a car with you and you're like, yo, we going to, we going to the DMV. My immediate question is why, right? So I think the crisis comes from asking why. Like, oh, you're here for a purpose. Like you're here for a reason. What's the reason? Right? So I think that's where the crisis comes from. But like,
I think sometimes though, some people don't even like to ask that question. I think that's the biggest crisis. If I'm being honest, like at a certain point, even within my life, although I grew up super religious, it was like I was just following faith blindly, happily. Don't get me wrong. Like I was, convinced like Islam is the way, la ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah. But did I ever really stop to ask, where am I? How did I get here? And a lot of scholars and a lot of people, they give that example of like, if you out of nowhere just woke up, like me and you were sitting here, all of a sudden I black out. And then when I wake up, I'm on a plane. And on that plane, there's people. On that plane, there's food. On that plane, it's obviously going somewhere. Naturally, the first thing I'm going to ask is, how did I get here? Because I was just sitting and talking to Sammy. I blacked out, and all of a sudden, I'm in a plane. So some people can't even come to that question. And I don't know when it came, like to me, I'm trying to reflect on when did I actually step back and say, I'm here, like you just said, like
sentient.
Yeah,
like you're
like,
actually like
once upon a time I was not here. All of a sudden I am. Okay, well, where am I going? Obviously there's a destination because I'm obviously gonna die. So that whole process, at what point does one come to reflect on that, and at what point should one force himself to reflect on that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I had this at like 16, 17, but there's a person I wanted to bring up. Like I watched her podcast. Her name's Brittany Broski, and she's got a really funny podcast.
Broski.
And she had this one, I'm paraphrasing here. I hope I'm not mischaracterizing it, but she spoke about that question of like asking why we're here, what's the purpose of life, and she was like, I don't think that's something that we need to answer or we should answer. And to me, that didn't strike me correctly, or didn't make much sense. Like, why we have the ability to ask ourselves that, there should be some reason why that's like, because if it was like a child, for example, a 4-year-old child does not need to know about sex ed, right? But at some point he needs to learn about it, right? You're not just gonna be a parent and just on his wedding day be like, yo, take care of that. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta like, if that's a question you need that you can ponder on, like you need to be able to answer it. So like I don't think it helps anyone running away, which is what I try to do, which was like 16, 17, my mom told me to go fold some clothes upstairs, and I was mad. So I went upstairs with like the hamper, I put it down, and I started folding clothes, and I had a mirror in front of me in my room. And I remember thinking, who's this guy? Like I didn't choose to look this way. I didn't choose this family. I didn't choose to be from where I'm from, to live where I was currently living. Like where did I just spawned out of nowhere? I was just like, I was looking at the mirror. Like, you ever seen that meme where the guy's like looking at his hand? That was me, and I got so mad that I had to fold clothes. I was like, I'm not supposed to be folding clothes. That's not my purpose in life. And then I was like,
maybe it is.
Maybe it is. I don't know. Like, I haven't asked myself that question. But I think once I stopped pondering on that, I like avoided mirrors. I avoided like thinking about it. I just did not want to answer that question or even ponder on it, right? Because I was scared. And so I would do anything to like shut it out. I'd listen to music really loud, like in my own room, full on performances, you know. I would try to sleep really, really late.
I'd pay not to hear that.
Oh yeah, that's why it's never leaked. You know what I'm saying? I would purposely go to sleep when I don't go to bed until I'm so tired, like to the point where like I'm just gonna knock out within 5 minutes. I just want to be out. I would accept, huh?
Like the thought, so you don't have to sit.
I don't want to be
thoughts?
alone. Yeah, I don't want to be alone to think about that, right? Like I'll be in the bathroom and I'll be like either rapping because I used to rap in bed. I don't know why. You know the
acoustics.
the acoustics, bro. Just, I was rapping. You know what I love?
In the shower.
Huh? Oh, dude, my go-to song was "Many Men" by 50 Cent.
Swish
Many men. Man,
Blood
and I had like you know, pain in my heart, you know what I'm saying, like blood in my dog and I can't see, you know, like I was really rapping.
We lost hella family members.
What are you talking about?
That's how we sang it, right? Like shoot, we
I was like what I just walk into like that. And my dad, I remember one time, side note, I was rapping. My dad came in, I was in the bathroom, and I was because when I really get into it, my eyes are closed. So I rap like, blood in my dog and I can't see. I'm trying to be what I'm destined to be. And I'm trying to take my life away. And then I didn't hear the door open because I was so like, I was like, yeah. I was like this. And the door was already open. And my dad must have been in there for a cool 30 seconds. As soon as I opened my... And I was shorter, obviously. I was shorter than my dad at the time, and so I opened my eyes and I looked up like that, and then the next thing I noticed, I was looking back there. I got a smooth right there on the temple. I looked right there. It was really funny, but that's what I'll do. I like try to avoid it. I'd even accept invites, like terrible invites. Hey man, you know, we going I don't know. We going to grab some milk because my mom asked me to grab some milk. I'll be like, yeah, I'm there. You know, say less. I would treat it like it's a function, you know? Like I would go and do grocery shopping for another individual just so I wasn't at home by myself. I would never grocery shop for myself, you know? Like I wouldn't do those things, but I just wanted to get out the house, which reminds me, like, normally those invites I get, you know, like the terrible ones, like I would not do that. If I was comfortable with myself, I would look at it and I'm like, yo, this has to be one of those.
Like why?
No, not even why. Like just shareable invites. Like there's just like, yo, you want me to go buy milk with you, bro? Like this is not a.
I should have better things to do.
Yeah.
I'd hope.
So, but like at 16, like you probably don't. So I'm looking at it, I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be one of those texts I didn't get. You know what I'm saying? Like you're gonna pretend. But like when I'm uncomfortable with myself, I'm there. You know. But then the other option was eventually once I couldn't run away anymore, it was like that small blissful ignorance, but it was like short-lived. You know, it's like when you swipe your card. You know, you keep swiping, but you don't know how much money is left, but you just keep swiping, and then all of a sudden you're in Walmart and everybody finds out at the same time you do. Like we out. Like, it's not gonna serve you any good, right? Like I always tell my like these friends like that call me like when I think about death and I talk about it, people think it's morbid. And I'm like, I'm not being morbid. It's like, it doesn't serve me to pretend that rent isn't due in a couple of days. It serves me best to prepare, right? You're 28th of the month and you still like, yeah, you know, it helps nobody. Anyways, then the other option, so I felt like those are two doors, either run away, which I tried, and the other one is like just confront it, like sit with it. Like, let's get comfortable. Let's just put our feet in the sand and like really, like, you know, get a firm grip on this. And I opened that door, and then I got a few other doors, right? And it was like, oh, just believe there's no God. Atheism. Which didn't make sense to me, but anything to silence those voices was a good option to me.
I want to cut you off real quick. Because you got me thinking of something, and I'm like, I was trying to pinpoint the whole time what it was, and I think what you just said in the last like 10 minutes brought it to surface, which was like, ultimately what I was looking for was purpose. I wanted to feel like whatever it is that I was doing was like I was meant to be doing it. Like meaning. I needed meaning in my life. And so I was searching for meaning in whatever it was. And it just so happened to be that Islam was that meaning for me. And I found comfort in the fact that I could easily say, that's my purpose. Now, at the time, I didn't know what it was for, why, where I was going. Like, I didn't know the tafasir, like the details of it, right? Nor like the spirituality for the most part, right? It was like stories of the prophets, this, that, and salah and siyam and the vibes of Ramadan. I think that's ultimately what it was. And I feel like it's the purpose, it's the meaning. I just wanted to find meaning. So when I hang out with my friends, I'm finding meaning in that. I have a purpose. My purpose is to go hang out with them. My purpose is to do this. And even the aspect you just brought up, atheism. Well, why, people I've talked to or what have you that tend to go that way, or when they're in college, why do they fall into all these different types of things it's the social aspect of it. They find purpose. They find groups. They find social circles. And
what,
so then
like you think people found atheism because of social groups?
I believe they were looking for purpose. They were looking for meaning and belonging and fitting in somewhere. And so naturally, wherever you fit in and you feel acknowledged and loved or like you're worth something, why would you leave that group?
But do you think you can hang out a bunch of atheists and not be an atheist? Or do you feel like you need to like believe what they believe?
If you're well grounded in something else, like if I'm well grounded in something else, then obviously not. But if I don't have that, like if I was you when you were 14, 15, looking for that, and then you so happen to stumble across that group, then you begin to find meaning in that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if you don't have meaning, if you haven't found your purpose, if you haven't found your meaning or your why, then you're still searching for that why. And if you fall into the wrong group at the wrong time that makes you feel that sense of purpose or that answers your why supposedly in the moment, then chances are you'll tend to stay around that area.
I never had a problem with the social part because I grew up around in a Muslim country, so it was majority people were Muslim. So I didn't feel like I was an outsider because of my faith, but I knew atheists as well, or even people of other religions. But atheism was like the only reason why it felt like worthy of exploring in the sense of like that is because it also turned off all the noise, which meant like, if I can believe that there is no God, well, now I don't have an authority figure. I don't have anyone to answer to. And that's what I wanted. But it never made any sense to me. Like, obviously, I came out of that. Like, I'm not a coincidence. I'm that guy.
And why would it apply to every small aspect of life, but not the most important thing?
No, even like as a kid, like I'm like, dude, monkeys? Like what? A fish learn how to walk? I ain't never swam, bro. Like, what are you talking about? Like I'm 14, 15. I'm like, yo, maybe y'all are apes, but I just, this makes no sense to me. Like I'm not gonna accept that.
Keep my name out of your mouth.
You know what I'm saying? What are you talking about? I didn't say you thought we were fish.
No, I'm saying that's probably what you were thinking.
Oh no, I was not. I was not tough. I'm like, keep my name out of your mouth, man. I don't know. It wasn't like, it definitely wasn't a social thing. I was just so like, I need to not have a like, and then even, okay, if you put atheists aside, I couldn't go like more than 2 questions deep. This is how for me, like if some people think they're atheists, I think maybe for 2 days I thought I was. But if you ask me like, why are you atheist? I'll tell you the bare bones. Oh, I can't see God. He's not there. That's my only answer. You dig a little bit deeper and it falls apart. Like, okay, well, you don't see X, so how do you believe in this? Oh, yeah, well, I see like the product of it, like gravity. Well, everything's centered, so how is it, Well, then what about you? Like, you're proof that God exists, right? I was 2 sentences or 2 questions from like unraveling me. So atheism never made sense. But then there's like another side of people who like, if God did exist, and they, whether it be agnostic or whatever, they would say, okay, if God did exist, and what about the injustice? Or what about like the pain that I see, right? And to me, like obviously, if you don't look at something in a big enough time frame, like if you just look like a parent like disciplining a child, and you only look at that, you're like, damn, that's abuse. But if you look at the bigger picture, like, oh, you mean the child just like, did some wild stuff, and this is the parent disciplining that. Like you stretch out the time frame, and you realize why this has to happen. Like in this life, like if you stretch out the time frame to the next life, then it all makes sense. But because we're only limited to this one, you can't really make sense of it. But also, like if you believe inherently that God is evil, then you kind of tell yourself, hey, I don't worship a person or a being that's evil. It's kind of like, you know, that meme or like before that, if you believe your father is a bad father, you now feel less guilty disobeying him, right? Or if you believe that your father or this guy is not your father,
Who
you
are
don't
you
f-
telling?
you
Who
don't
are you
feel
telling
who
what
you
to
tell
do?
me. You know that meme like, you're not my dad, right?
Yeah.
Like that's like the sense of like, oh, I'm not gonna follow somebody or a person I believe to be unfit. You know, I would believe like unfit of
Yeah,
worship.
100%.
So right. So that's like to the side, but the thing that attracted me the most was just anything that silenced the noise. So the noise. So atheism was one of the doors that I just could never really walk into with confidence. And the other one was like other religions in general, right? And I think we spoke about this recently, but like you've never explored other religions or even thought about it, right?
No, never. I mean, explore in the sense of like maybe some interfaith workshops. Like I remember at one point, like we ended up going to a church. That was one of the most awkward experiences ever for me, man. Like I was not acclimated to having conversations with non-Muslims or it was just the most interaction I've had with non-Muslims is like when I played sports on like a basketball team or a soccer team that obviously were just non-Muslims on the team. And even then religion would never get brought up. So yeah, I never really had that like when I was younger at least. And I personally, to me, I think it was, I honestly, I don't know. Everyone's different, right? I needed that bubble. Personally, I needed it. Like I'm happy that my parents surrounded me with Muslims to be able to fully grasp and understand and get my foot situated when it comes to my deen, building confidence in that sense. And then eventually when my brain is developed, I'm able to delve into these different topics and delve into having conversations and better my social IQ and my social skills. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I didn't lose anything. I don't think I lost anything not necessarily having that when I was younger. Obviously, I don't know. Maybe on the day of judgment, we'll play like a nice little recording, you know, like inshallah, when we're sitting in Jannah and we're chilling, it's like, you know, oh, that would have happened. Or, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
as of now, alhamdulillah, like I think I personally, I needed it the way my personality is. Yeah, I think everything played out well, alhamdulillah.
I had a bubble because I had a lot of like Muslim friends, but I also had like a bunch of non-Muslim friends. But my thing was always just like, I want to be able to do other things and not feel guilty.
Yeah.
So my biggest concern at 12 was a girlfriend. Like, what religion lets me do that? Because that's the religion I want to follow, right?
Yeah.
And so I saw all my friends just have girlfriends, and I'm just like, yo, how do we know we're right? You know, what if all this time I'm spending praying and we find out later we wrong and I could have had a white girlfriend this whole time? Like, you know, and like I told you this before, like at 12, like you don't know nothing. I mean, 12-year-olds now a little different, but
Yeah, that's true.
when I was 12, like, I just wanted a girlfriend to say I had a girlfriend. It's kind of like when you ask a kid what his favorite cars is, and he's like, Lamborghini. What you gonna do with a Lamborghini? You don't know how to drive. I'm like, same thing. I don't know what I'm gonna do with a girlfriend. I just want one. I just want to be like, yo, this is Kathy. Say what's up, Kathy. You know, I just wanted a girlfriend because it was like the thing to like. I was so insecure. I was so like, I felt like I need to either like at least fit in, but I would like to stand. Like I would like to have more people to like. That's why I realized I just wanted praise. Like I would envision like a guy pulls up with like a, I don't know, like a Rolls Royce. In my head, I'm like, one day I'm gonna pull up in a Bugatti.
Yeah.
I don't even like Bugattis.
You know what's crazy? And I know this is a different spectrum, but I love it because I believe I had the same thoughts and feelings, but it was towards the opposite side.
Opposite gender?
No.
That's wild, bro. Yo, I want a boyfriend.
No, full. I mean, like in terms of like the religiosity, like I was searching for the same praise, but because of being religious, maybe I wanted to be different, but different because I was religious.
Yeah.
Like I feel like to a certain extent, and that's the aspect of tarbiyah, right? That's the aspect of like diseases of the heart. And I was a kid, so you know. So it's just interesting to think about.
You wanted to be praised.
Like I have I'm trying to reflect on me as a kid, but yeah, who doesn't as a kid? Who doesn't want to be like, oh, look how amazing he is. Look how great his Quran recitation is. Look how
fast he is. Oh, that's the biggest compliment when you're a kid.
I was the fastest. Alhamdulillah. I think I was the fastest in class from day one until I hit like junior year. And then I went to an American public school. They left me in the dust, bro. I never had that many
Yeah.
black kids in my class.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, bro.
funny,
I
yeah.
thought I was a beast, and then I'll join the track team, 100-meter dash. I'm like, cake,
Yeah.
bro. I'm thinking I'm flying.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm like in 4th place, and I'm
Lapping
like,
you.
wallahi, in my head I was like, it's impossible. How can they physically? Their
Move that fast.
my legs are the fastest legs.
Yeah.
It was hard for me to accept. Like I always knew older kids were faster than me because they're older.
Yeah,
they
yeah,
have-
yeah.
But people in my same class,
No way.
big check. It was a big ego check for sure.
I remember when that was currency, bro. Being the fastest. Like,
Oh.
bro, if you're the fastest guy in school, it
Oh,
don't
you had
matter
anything.
what car you pull up in.
Yeah.
It don't matter.
I mean, at that
You
point,
know,
you're probably getting
if-
dropped off by your mom. But
Yeah,
anyway.
it don't matter, right? Like, no one cares about your economic status. If you are fast, you are the man. And you're a man for a good 3-4 years.
Yo, but I think it's changing.
What do you mean?
I know this is a little off topic, but I think it's changing. Like the currency of athleticism, I believe is dying down a little bit. Now it is about money in the car you pull up in, at least in high school. You see, I saw some kid pulling up in an i8 to high school, BMW i8, pulling up in like G wagons. And
Also,
to
like
me,
that,
maybe
like
now
the
that's
prom
normal.
pictures.
No, bro, that's their daily
Yo, what high
in
school?
high
do you
school,
know?
right here, No Grove.
That's crazy.
Yeah, wallahi, I was just like, what parent in their right mind thought to say, yeah, my 17-year-old has done enough in life to be driving this i8? Like, what have they? I want to know what they've done to deserve that.
You sound like a hater, lightweight.
A big, bro. Wallahi, I'm worried. I'm genuinely worried. Like, we're talking about like, why are our kids like this? Why are they ungrateful? Why do they do? Look at the parents. It goes back to the parents.
Yeah, but if you had like a multi-millions, you wouldn't give your kid a car?
No, not if they didn't earn it. Like, I'll give you an example. The Ball brothers. They're driving Lambos at 17, 18. But yo, they've hustled, worked, God, how many hours a day of working out, and their father's on top of them, on top of their, you know what I mean? Like in terms of basketball, like they earned it. Yeah, 17 still might be a little excessive, but they've definitely put in the work. You see that.
Yeah. And now they're
But
in the NBA.
like maybe to them it's them getting straight A's. I guess maybe that's their currency of good work. But hey, to each their own.
Yeah. But the currency back then was like how fast you are, you know, how unstrict your parents are. Yo, such and such parents let him do crack.
Dang, that's crazy.
He did crack in the back.
My mom didn't let me do crack, but
Yeah.
I definitely did have a lot of freedom. Now that I think about it, that's kind of like,
Yeah.
wow.
No, like my parents, like I would be the guy, like I couldn't drive. Like I was the last person in my friend group to drive, and like everyone else could. And so I would get the call. I'll be at the function and everyone. Now it would just be like some house kickback, and I would just chilling with friends. And I'd have to go to my friend and be like, I have to go home. And he'd be, man, I hate bringing you. Because he'd be mad that he had to bring me because he'd be my ride. And so like he'd have to leave. But then eventually, like, you know, he was rich. He was Qatari, so he would tell his driver to send
That's
me home, right?
crazy.
But I remember that like at 9 p.m., I'll get that text, hey, come home. And I'm like,
Yeah.
right? So the people who were
Gotta
like,
fold clothes.
the saddest was definitely the people who had like the least strict parents. And, oh, do you remember that guy? He doesn't come to school 4 days out the week because his parents don't care. Oh, he's a goat, you know? As well. But yeah, the thing is the wanting girlfriend and all that and going into different religions and whatever. And then one time I sat with my Egyptian friend and we were like on the curb of our house. And we used to play soccer right outside. And so we would sit and talk and like, excuse me. Yeah, what if we're wrong and Islam is not correct and we missed out? And they were like, what about Christianity, man? It's the biggest religion in the world, numbers wise, right? Like maybe not fastest growing or whatever, but numbers wise, I'm like, what if we're wrong? What if our parents don't know what they're saying and whatever? And then like just a little bit of research. Like if I become Christian, can I have a girlfriend? And you know, you kind of see, oh, no sex out of marriage, no such and such. I'm like, oh, they can't do this either, right? Because otherwise I'd be ready. Like I was just like, you know, but imagine coming home to a Somali mom, like, Hoyo, Jesus, it's over. Like, it's over. Otherwise, I was so like eager to do anything to get what I wanted. And when I realized, oh, the only way people can get what they want out of life, in terms of like doing whatever they want, was if they just disobey. Like that's the only way. And so then that was the final door until the third door, which was Islam.
You know what's interesting too when you said that? You said disobey. And it reminded me, like, you know how everyone, like, sometimes we search for those, like, rushes of, like, feelings and emotions and stuff like that? Don't you ever think that disobeying also gives a certain type of, like, status, a certain type of feeling when you do disobey?
Yeah.
Like, there is a type of, like, oh, yeah, I don't listen to.
Oh, he's a badass. He did that. Yeah.
Right? Like, there's even an attraction to a certain
100%.
extent when it comes to disobeying.
Yeah, it's the idea of, like, girls love bad boys. Right, that's where it comes from. It's not even about God. It's about anyone who can defy authority. Like, I'm a goon and I've shot and killed 15 people. Yo, that guy's the GOAT. Like, you know, that's they glorify them in music as well. There's like, yo, homie he got like 10 bodies.
Yeah.
Right.
But
at 18, like it's like, and so the one who had a fight with a teacher, like those videos go viral all the time.
Yeah.
That kid is the most popular kid in school. Why? Because he slapped a teacher.
I feel like it shifts though. Do you agree? Yeah. Like, I remember that was the case at one point, right? And then now I'm reflecting about myself. Like, I remember when I was going to community college and it was nighttime and I had to pray. So I left the middle of the class, put my musalla. Maybe you were there on campus that I don't even remember. And I'm praying out in the main hall area where people are just walking back and forth. And, you know, Bismillah, Allahu Akbar, boom, ruku, sujud, whatever. And then I see a group of Akis walking by. I didn't see them. Obviously, I heard them. Non-Muslim, though. And all they hear is like, mad respect. Yo, I respect that. I respect that. I feel like at a certain point, it shifts. That when you get to a certain age and I continue to disobey and I continue to try to act like I'm the bad guy, it actually flips. And now the person who's actually kind and humble and respectful, and they become the ones that are praised. They become the ones that are like, oh, wow, respect to that versus respect to the one that's out there holding a gun doing X, Y, and Z.
I would say only yes, because it's not the cool factor isn't because like you can follow authority. It's being different, right? So when you're younger, being different was being defiant. Yeah. And then when you get older, it's like, yo, this guy's actually, now we're all defiant. The one who isn't, that's a special one. So it's always that small group of people who are the ones who are like held to some higher regard because you walked away from the crowd and you went on your own sort of, you stuck to your own morals, right? So, I think when you get older, because everyone sort of like blends in.
And that's scary. Because then ultimately it goes back to a person's intention, which is why it's one of the most important things. Like, we know our deeds don't carry any weight. Like on the Day of Judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is weighing our deeds. It's not counted. It's a scale. So the weight of your deed is based on its intention. And it's one of the most difficult things to do. So I agree with you. At a certain point, even being good is different, which gains attention. So then it goes back to what's in your heart and only Allah knows. So...
yeah. I ask myself sometimes, like, oh, would I do this if no one was watching?
Sheesh.
And I mean, sometimes I can't answer it, but then, like, sometimes I think, like, man, if I made like $1 million and I just wrote a check for like 100K or something, just gave away, sometimes I think to myself, man, you know how many views this would do online? I'll be like Mr. Beast.
You know what would suck? Imagine you didn't get any views.
I gave 100K and I'm broke. No, I'm gonna keep best believe I'm reposting until that video goes viral. I gotta make back. You see that guy who like was doing that video where, you know, you give someone $1, and then they're like, okay, what would you like me to give the next person? They're like, oh, give them a can of Pepsi, and so he gives them a can of Pepsi, and then he asks them, what would you like me to give the next person? And then someone goes, an iPad, and he was like, I'm not doing this video anymore because I don't know how I got there, but it's like, losing money on trying to go viral. But the other point I was going to make was like when I got to that last door of like Islam, right? And then you open that door and you ask, okay, look, I can't silence these voices. I submit. I know this is true. I know this is right. I choose Islam as my religion. I choose what it comes with. But now I'm not practicing, but it's enough to be like, hey, I'm Muslim though. I'm a quote unquote good person, you know, I can skate by with this for a few years. And I tried to like I wouldn't pray on time. I wouldn't pray at all. Sometimes I would, you know, just back and forth, you know, some months I'd be killing it. Some months, you know what I'm saying?
Stub your toe the wrong way.
Yeah. I would have a bad, like I told you this, right? I would be so weak. Like if I have a bad day, it's just not happening. You know, like I'm going to bed. Like I'm so upset at life. Like, hey, I call it quits. Like my deeds were based on how I felt that day, which I believe. Like the hadith of I don't know if it's a hadith or it's in the Quran, but there was like a person that Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala speaks like he worships at the edge of a cliff.
Yeah.
I felt like that was me. Still at this point, I think it's me. Like when everything's going good, he's like Muslim.
Yeah.
He'll pray the 5 times. He'll do whatever he needs to do. He will fulfill his obligations. But the minute things go bad, he's ready to jump. And that I think is me. Like I think I'm less than that, but I still feel like I'm kind of that way. Day's going good. Yo, got Fajr in, got Dhuhr in, got Asr and whatever. I'm all good. Day went bad. God just gonna have to understand. Today was tough. Like I always be like, this is like, this is how how I used to think. Sometimes I'd go all the way like, excuse me, like I wouldn't, I don't know, like I would I'd quit music, for example, and then like I'd be having a terrible day, and I'm just like, you know what? It's just like it's already a bad day. I just you're already telling yourself like, yo, give up on today. There's no point. Like you just go down in the spiral and pull yourself out of it tomorrow. And then subhanAllah, sometimes those days don't come up. But yeah, man, that's kind of my journey. And this whole existential crisis is like trying to figure that out. But I remember we spoke briefly, and you mentioned that like you never had any of these like woes or worries. Because like you were so firm, because maybe like you were sick when you were younger, so you were battling with that. So,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there were multiple things, right? One was my sister, Ali Yarhamha, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on her soul. She passed away from cancer a very long time ago. So I believe a person who experiences death within their family, doesn't matter who it is. Obviously, the closer they are to you, then the more it's gonna hit home. But I think I couldn't help but have to think about that, because where is she going now, right? What are her kids gonna do? She had three of my nephews, right? May Allah to protect them and keep them steadfast, right? Like you're forced to ask that question. I think another thing is from a young age, even before that happened, I used to see everything that was happening overseas in Palestine. Like I'm from Palestine, right? So my dad is glued to Al Jazeera. Like y'all know, right? Like when they're glued to Al Jazeera, it doesn't matter. Like you're just here in the background 24/7. So I saw kids being killed and held and dead, and so I'm assuming I couldn't help. I'm trying to like analyze myself, right? Like psychoanalyze myself, but I was forced to think about it. Like you see these kids that are dying. Well, why? What's the point? Why did it happen? And then again, it would always go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there was still, I don't think I actually ever got the answers. I think it was just, it only made sense that there had to be a greater being to make sure that this was going to be taken care of. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I never had that reassurance. Like even though my parents preached that, I never like in my mind when I saw people dying on TV in the news, I would register it as not being real because I don't know if I was capable of like, hey, this is real. We share the same world. Like we're the same, blood. Like we have, they're human just as much as I am. I would have to believe it's fiction for me to get through the day. And I used to think that, I used to avoid thinking like, hey, life is unfair because I wanted it to be unfair in my favor. So long as it was unfair in my favor, I didn't care. This is like 14, 15 years old, right? I didn't ask myself why there are people starving, but I'm upset at the fact that someone took the last popsicle. You know what I'm saying? Like I was that was my biggest pain. There are kids who buried their parents. Parents who buried their kids. And I'm mad because there's a 6-pack of popsicles. There's only 6 people here. Who had 2? Like that was the biggest bane of my life. And so, but I never registered. I never registered that like life is unfair or why is it unfair. I would just be like, no. I'm that guy. I'm the center of the universe. I'm that dude. This can't happen to me. SubhanAllah, you know what's funny? I've always been happy in my life, like just happy, not because something happened. I'll be upset, have bad days, and I'll be even happier if something good happened. But generally, I wake up mad happy. I'm smiling, laughing, whatever. When I was in my last year of university, those were the days where I woke up and I believed that, oh, I actually have to work to be happy now. Like I have to, I have to put an effort just to be happy. Something that for 20 something years I just had. It's almost like I was a billionaire's kid, and I just got told I'm being cut off. I've never had to work for money. You know what I mean? And I had to like restructure everything. I think like the early 20s were such a big development stage for me. Cause and then even coming to terms with like, oh, we're all human and some of us have more and some of us have less. And that's not because of his it's not because of his or her effort. This is how Allah divvied up the pile. Like I even thought about like the concept of risk. Like, you know, it's not like the people's risk are like based on how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chooses to split them up. You have smarts, you have intelligence, but this one has money. If it was up to you, then the most intelligent of them would be the richest of us. But that's not the case. Allah divvied it up how He wants to divvy it up. Okay? It's not up to us. So then I realized, oh, there are some dumb people who put up a rap song at 17 and they're now multimillionaires. And then there's like people who are like, in terms of like intellect, like Nobel Peace Prize, I don't know what it's called, but super intelligent, and they're like barely making it. That's just how it was. Like I'd never understood that concept until I got older. I'm like, oh, I don't get a say here, and I have to be okay with that. But yeah, that was tough for me.
Yeah, it reminds me of a verse, subhanAllah, and I'm trying to remember it, and it's one of those verses, especially now with like everything that's happening. Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes away dominion or power from whoever He wills, and He gives it to whoever He wills. He humiliates whomever He wills, and He honors whomever He wills, and everything of good is in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's hands. The beautiful thing to think about that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala went and divided these 4 categories, and after each one of them said to whom He wills. Allah is not connecting power with honor or no power with humiliation. Allah is saying, look, I can give you all the power and I can still humiliate you.
Yeah.
I can take away all of your power, quote unquote, and you on the surface you don't look powerful, but give you all the honor. And He didn't tie those 2 things together, power and honor, or no power and humiliation. And I think subhanAllah, that's a beautiful thing, because at the end of the day, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala honors whom He wills. Doesn't matter how broke you are or what status you have or money you have or car you drive. At the end of the day, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to honor you in this dunya, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will elevate you. And I think that's, but that's only when we're looking for Allah's pleasure. If we're looking for honor, if we're looking for it, just understand it's with the deen, it's with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and all of it belongs to Allah. So it's just an interesting point that, like, when you mentioned that, I think some people conflate the two, right?
Oh, for sure. But that's why it's so funny when like Biden falls down. It's like, yo, you supposed to be the man out here. What happened to you? You know, like. But just want to wrap up. So today we spoke about existential crisis.
Yeah.
But I think at some point when you go through all these doors, maybe people went through the same doors I went through. You land in front of Islam's door and you're like, okay, I accept. But how much do we really want to give into this, right? Because the question after, like, oh, why am I here? It's like, oh, is God real? For example, the first question is like, is God real? And why did He create me? Oh, what does He want from me now? Right? And so now we go on this journey for the road back home to figure out what is stopping us from going on this journey, what makes this journey so difficult, and I guess just narrating the way home, So, inshallah khair. All right.
Appreciate you.
Alhamdulillah.